Chapter 1. You are listening at FameTV.info. Translator. Endless Fantasy Translation Editor. Endless Fantasy Translation at a Parallel World in New York, June 3 RD. For many people in this world, this was a very important day. It was the day of the Science Technology Summit. The Science Technology Summit was a conference organized by the world's top scientists. At this summit, there were researchers and dignitaries from various countries, as well as people proficient in all types of weapons, special forces, mercenaries. The reason why all these people were gathered here on this day was simple: to buy powerful technology and weapons that would allow them to arm their own countries. This world was not a peaceful world, and war was the norm, where resources were scarce. Everyone was fighting for oil, minerals, forests, fresh water, and so on. In short, everyone needed resources. That meant that the only respected professions in this world were those who were scientists and inventors. In this world, those who brought progress to one's country did so through powerful technological inventions. That was why, no matter how fierce a war was, no sides were allowed to annoy or attack scientists, no matter which side they were from. This was because all scientists around the world had signed an agreement. The Mutual Assistance Agreement, that if even a single scientist was threatened or hurt, it would arouse the anger of scientists all over the world. They would then bring out their high-technology weapons and join in on the fray. The agreement stated that the country that hurt any scientist would be destroyed by the other scientists themselves. Yes, a whole nation destroyed for one scientist. This was not an exaggeration. Everyone wanted to befriend the Scientist Association, especially those with terrorist connections. The logic behind it was simple. When all the high-tech weapons in the world were brought out by these scientists, their firepower would all be concentrated on one country. It was a terrible sight to behold. It was now 9 o'clock in the morning. The Science Technology Summit officially began at 10 o'clock. The building was full of science and technology, its appearance similar to the spiral rise of a DNA double stranded structure. At this moment, there were people bustling up and down the stairs. These were the elites in suits and researchers in white coats. There were also special forces soldiers amongst them with cold faces, as well as terrorists with murderous intent. The people from both sides stared at each other as they walked into the building. No matter how deep their hatred was, they had to behave themselves in this place. No one could protect them if they caused trouble here. Under a big tree not far from the building, a man wearing a white shirt and sunglasses glanced at the building in the distance. His expression was very calm, but his fists were tightly clenched. He looked at his watch and muttered to himself, "We can go inside in 10 minutes. Yes, the technology building was not a place where anyone could come and go as they pleased. Without a certain identity or status, you could not just simply enter. Other than the members of the Science Technology Association, the others were either invited dignitaries from various countries or some big clients who were simply doing business in areas where war and chaos could not follow them. There were also some people who had spent money and had connections who could get them an invitation they needed to join. Only a select few could get in through connections, as external quotas were always extremely limited. Everyone entered the building in batches according to their rankings, and those who had to use external connections were usually the last to be let in. By the time they could enter the building, most of the big exhibitions would usually be over, so all they would be able to see were the remaining side exhibitions and introductions from afar. Anderson was one of the last people to enter. However, he had not come here to see the technology or weapons that the scientists had invented. He only had one goal, and that was to become a member of the Science Technology Association. Everyone knew how to become a member of the Science Technology Association. All you needed to do was invent and create a piece of technology that could satisfy others and be recognized by the other members to become a part of the Science Technology Association. Finally, it was 9:50 am. Anderson walked quickly to the building and took out a special card from his pocket, the size of a regular credit card. It was not a hot day, however. The back of his white shirt was soaked with sweat. The reason for his sweat was simple. He was both excited and nervous. Soon, maybe around 10 minutes later, he was going to do something great. Without the association's recognition, he was going to walk on stage and demonstrate his artificial intelligence technology. It was a huge risk to do such a thing at the risk of offending the association. If the technology he invented was not recognized as useful by the researchers, it would cause a lot of people to pursue him. The lesser punishment was to spend the rest of his life in a prison cell, while the worst would be taking him away and disposing of him. However, Anderson had no choice. Once, he was just a company clerk until suddenly, by accident, he had arrived in this world. It was a parallel world that was similar to Earth but different than in this world. He became the heir of a weapon company. The weapons company was not bad, but it was only one of the many arms dealers in this world. The worst thing was that the company was facing bankruptcy and a debt that ran sky high. Once he could not repay the debt, there was only one ending for him in such a dangerous world. And that was death. But fortunately, when he arrived in this world, he also obtained a magical item, a god-tier technological system. Every week, he could check in once within the system and obtain a magical piece of dark technology. The first reward he received was a part used to create an iron suit for a certain type of artificial intelligence. In fact, this iron suit was something he had only seen in movies before this. The technology it contained was something that the people of this world could not imagine. The materials included titanium alloy, nano alloy in the later stages, and a special metal that did not belong to this world, vibranium. The intelligence aspect was extremely advanced. It could be said that it surpassed any artificial intelligence of this era. Once he got more parts, the armor also included an array of weapons such as electromagnetic energy guns, laser beams, and so on. Of course, the most important core technology he needed to complete the puzzle was the controllable nuclear fusion. If he obtained this technology, he would basically not have to worry about powering the armor over long periods of time. However, he would just have to wait patiently to obtain that piece. The most important thing now was to join the Science Technology Association. As long as his technology could be recognized by the scientists of this world and he successfully joined the Science Technology Association, the problems that he was facing would no longer be just his own. Also, his debt could be solved by selling part of the funds that he would go into improve his artificial intelligence technology. After that, the weapons company could become a high-tech company. From then on, his identity would also change from that of an ordinary arms dealer to a scientist that everyone respected. Therefore, since God had given him such an ability, he intended to use it to fight for himself. He couldn't just stay at home and wait for the company to go bankrupt, bidding time for his death. Anderson believed that he could do it. After all, this was a high-tech concept from another world. In this world, it was a path that no one had ever walked before. Soon, the technology summit officially began. This time in an empty room, there were nearly 200 people from all over the world of high status. Half of them had looks of anticipation on their faces, while the rest were simply excited. Some were excited that their works would be displayed in front of the world, while others were excited to get the opportunity to obtain their favorite technological weapons. Finally, an old man wearing a neat suit and gold-rimmed glasses walked onto the stage. At the same time, there was a round of applause from the audience. He raised his glasses and glanced at the crowd below the stage before nodding slightly. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I declare that the Science Technology Summit has officially begun. Listen to the full novel at FameTV.info, direct link in the description.